Welcome. Today we're going back in time to 1857 in India. This is the story of the 1857 Revolt, also known as India's first war of independence. Let's explore the events that shaped India's future. Life was hard for Indians under British rule. They toiled endlessly in fields and factories, often under the watchful eyes of British officers. The villagers struggled to make ends meet, facing heavy taxes and exploitation. The British imposed their will, leaving little room for the local population to thrive. The East India Company was huge and controlled everything, from trade to administration. Their influence was all-encompassing. They had a monopoly on resources and dictated terms that favored their interests, often at the expense of the local economy and well-being of the people. They took over kingdoms and made unfair laws, making people angry. The annexation of Indian states was done with little regard for local customs and governance. This led to widespread resentment and protests as the native rulers and their subjects felt increasingly marginalized and oppressed. Then they introduced the Enfield rifle. This new weapon was meant to modernize the army, but it came with its own set of problems. The introduction of the rifle was seen as another attempt to impose British ways on the Indian soldiers. These rifles used greased cartridges, and people believed the grease was made from cow and pig fat. This belief caused widespread outrage, as it was deeply offensive to both Hindu and Muslim soldiers. The cartridges had to be bitten open, which meant direct contact with the grease. This was a big problem for Hindus and Muslims. For Hindus, cows are sacred, and for Muslims, pigs are considered unclean. The use of these cartridges was seen as a direct attack on their religious beliefs, leading to widespread discontent and unrest among the soldiers. This was the last straw for the people. The introduction of the Enfield rifle and its cartridges ignited a spark that led to the Revolt of 1857. Indian soldiers, known as Sepoys, rose up against their British officers, and the rebellion quickly spread, becoming a significant uprising against British rule. People in Meerut were furious. The air was thick with tension and anger as the news of the new rifle cartridges spread. The Sepoys, Indian soldiers, refused to use the new rifles. These cartridges were rumored to be greased with cow and pig fat, which was deeply offensive to both Hindu and Muslim soldiers. The British punished them harshly, and this made things worse. The severe punishments only fueled the fire of rebellion, leading to widespread unrest. The rebellion started in Meerut and quickly spread across northern India. Towns and cities were engulfed in the flames of revolt, as more and more people joined the cause. Brave leaders like Rani Lakshmibai, Nana Sahib and Tantia Tope became symbols of the fight against the British. Their courage and determination inspired many to stand up and fight for their freedom. The 1857 revolt wasn't one united effort. It was a series of uprisings by various groups across the Indian subcontinent. Different groups had different reasons for fighting. Some were driven by economic hardships, others by political grievances, and many by social injustices. This lack of unity made things difficult. The fragmented nature of the rebellion meant that there was no central leadership or coordinated strategy. The British, even though they were outnumbered at first, used this to their advantage. They capitalized on the divisions among the rebels. They turned different groups against each other and slowly gained control. By exploiting these internal conflicts, the British managed to reassert their dominance over the region. The British fought back with a lot of force. Many cities and villages were destroyed and many people died. But even though they lost, the rebels were brave. Their stories of courage inspired others to keep fighting for freedom. In 1858, the East India Company was shut down, and the British government took direct control of India, marking a new era. Even though the revolt failed, it changed India forever, leaving a lasting impact. It sparked the beginning of Indian nationalism and a quest for independence. Thank you for learning about the 1857 revolt. Even though it didn't succeed right away, it was an important step towards India's independence. The bravery of those who fought continues to inspire people today. Join us next time for more history stories.